Hi, Trevor here, reflecting on life through music. Thank you for stopping by. Well, come in, you're very, very welcome again as we continuing on in 2023. I trust you enjoyed my last video from Chris Isaak and through his song Wicked Game. We looked at this concept of even though love takes us over, sometimes we need to think about it as well, just not too much. Trust you found that one encouraging. Well, we're going to the Smalls Cafe in London in 1973. Michael Colby on guitar and keyboards, John Waite on lead vocals and bass, Tony Brock on drums and Wally Stoker on guitar. Michael Colby was going to be replaced by Jonathan Cain from the iconic Journey. Now, when you think of Don't Stop Believing and the keyboard part at the start of that one, that was Jonathan Cain. He also wrote Working Class Man, the iconic signature tune for Jimmy Barnes. So we're talking about rock and roll royalty right here. In fact, there's some big links between these guys, Journey, and the video I'm doing next time, Bad English. So it's kind of good to get a bit of a series going. I will look at Journey, but I will be looking at Bad English next time. The guys were talking about the Babies. Now, you'll be thinking, it's a bit of a weird name for a band. Well, apparently in this area, the early 1970s, it was all pop and all the rest of it. These guys were playing rock and roll, and they thought we were going to want to create a bit of a different name. We want to have this pop name, but we actually want to play rock and roll. We weren't going to only have it for a short amount of time, but as they started to play live, the name kind of stuck, and so the Babies would be who they would be. They signed to Chrysalis Records in 1976. Now, we're talking glamour 70s rock here, massive hair, not as big as the 80s, but big hair. Guys can play your instruments really, really well. I mean, John Waite's vocals are absolutely stunning. Michael's guitar work and Tony's drums are all pretty good. And so we've got a pretty amazing band in the Babies right here. Out in 1976 came the album, self-titled album, The Babies. Now, what I've been doing of late is I've actually been referring to the clips as we go. And one of the, I suppose, Davies single, If You've Got the Time, I've got both a live version and the official clip on this one. Look how big the drum kit is here. This is what you kind of did in the 1970s. Everything was big. And, you know, if you had a big drum kit on stage, it meant that you could actually play them. It meant that you as a band were pretty good. And the drummer's actually got a mic in front of his head too, which is pretty amazing. So live and official clip of If You've Got Time. Then out in 1977, now the album Broken Heart. Now when you talk about the Babies, you've got to talk about this one in particular. This was an absolutely massively huge song for the Babies. The album, by the way, did very well as well. Number 20 in the Billboard charts, number 13. That was the single, isn't it? Times we're looking at. The album number 13 and Australia number 1. The great thing about this particular song is the Babies actually expanded their lineup to include the Babettes. Now, the Babettes were a trio from Andre Crouch and the Disciples, so absolutely gospel music royalty right there. And to be involved with Andre Crouch, you had to be pretty good. And the Babettes were just the three girls that were with him. So they were brought across to Isn't It Time, because I thought, hey, we actually need a little bit more vocal here. Because this is a pretty big song, this one. It's almost a bit of an epic saga status to it almost. And so I had to bring these three girls along as well. Now, of course, the other thing you've got to realise is just how amazing John Waite's vocals are here. This guy does not miss a beat with his vocal delivery. He is absolutely stunning. And so he was just the perfect guy to deliver, to be the front man for Isn't It Time. So, and again, we've got this an iconic piano part at the beginning of this song as well. So we've got a couple of versions of that one. We've got the official clip, and then we've got a live version from 2016. Now, John Waite isn't on lead vocals here, but you know what? The guy singing here is pretty good as well. And I think one of the things I just wanted to bring out about this video today isn't this fact of isn't it time. Now, my reading of this song, it's almost like a guy talking to a girl or a girl talking to a guy saying, hey, can't you see it? Can't you see that I'm interested in you? Aren't you getting my eyes that I'm sending you, the looks that I'm giving you, the smiles I'm giving you? Can't you get it? Isn't it time? Because you know what? I really, really want to be with you. Or another interpretation could be, isn't it time for us to get our act together? Because you know what? We've been in this thing for so long. Isn't it time we actually got our act together? So a couple of interpretations of this particular song. And I think the thing about relationships, particularly at the start, is you never really know, when they're going to start. I remember going many years ago now, I went out with a date with a girl. I thought she was pretty cool. And we got together the week later and, we were feeding back on that first date. And she said, why didn't you hold my hand? And I said, well, I didn't think I was allowed to, or I didn't know what I was doing. And, it's a classic case of, you've just got to take the plunge sometimes and just do these things and see what happens. But, isn't it time? Well, come on. If it is time, let's act on it. So we've got that iconic song from the Babies. Move forward to the Head first album from 1978, and we've got Every Time I Think of You. We got an official clip of that one and a live version of that one. And then we go forward to 1980, Union Jackson, Back on My Feet Again. And here we see Jonathan Cain on keyboards. And, he is one of the best keyboard players ever. To be in the band such as Journey, you've got to be pretty good. And he'd go on to have a bit of a career with them. Well, it actually come from Journey at this point. And you may remember back in around 1984, John Waite came out with a solo song, Missing You. This was a massive song for him. Very successful on the charts. And it was great to see that after the dust settled with everything, that he actually had a bit of a hit with that song. Of course, Bad English was in between this song and the Babies, and so it's good to know that he had a bit of a career after all of that, because he has got one of the voices, these guys, and you don't want to keep it to yourself. So we've actually got a live version of that one with a country artist that put it on her album as well. Now, between 1976 and 1980, so a longer time, 5 studio albums, so that's 1 album a year. I think those guys got a bit tired. 9 singles. Now, when you look at Wikipedia and the personnel, there's a big massive gap between that about 1981 to 2013, when there was a bit of a reformation. And so, again, I just want to reiterate this concept of isn't it time? If you are hanging on and, it is feel like it's right, go for it. Or if you feel like you do need to have a conversation about where things are going, have the conversation before it's too late, because, isn't it time? It's a bit of a call to all of us today about the start of relationships, when relationships aren't going so well. So trust you'll find that all an encouragement today. Well, if you come back for another one, this is your first time to Life Reflections Through Music. Thank you to everyone for hanging around. I trust you're all really well. Hey, one of my videos recently got over 100 views, so I'm going to celebrate that, because this channel, it's not about quantity, it's about quality and resonance with the people that are watching. We don't react here, we reflect. So stay with me, because as you can see, I'm actually discovering some acts that I kind of forgot about, and so we're just going back to a few of those. So that's it for today. Next time, as I promised, we're going to go on to bad English. So until then, I'll catch you around. Bye for now.